Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel, and today we have a very special guest, Her Excellency, the Ambassador of the United States of America.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Very happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
What's the role of an ambassador?
Well, the ambassador has many different roles. The first is that I'm a representative of the President of the United States, and my first role is to promote and protect U.S. interests in the Gambia. And depends on what country an ambassador is in. In some countries, we'll focus on trade or commercial issues. In other countries, we focus on security issues or military issues, but it just depends on the country. When there was the Ebola crisis in West Africa, many ambassadors spent most of their time trying to help the countries deal with that health crisis. And another aspect of what I do in part of making and promoting U.S. interests is I want to make sure that the embassy is always a welcoming and supporting place for U.S. citizens who visit the Gambia and for U.S. businesses who may be considering doing business here in the Gambia. You can separate what the ambassador does into a number of categories. The first category I would call substantive, which is where we work with the host country, in this case the Gambia, to promote political, economic, and social improvements. Or then we have representational. That would be when an ambassador goes to events, such as yesterday I went to the launch of the Gambia's National Development Program. And a couple of days before that, I went to a program on ending FGM in the Gambia. So that's a representational event. We also do what we call ceremonial events. Just like the Gambia celebrates its independence on February 18th every year, we celebrate our independence in the U.S. on the 4th of July. So we always have a big party and invite a lot of people to that. We also traditionally have what we call a Marine Ball every year to celebrate the birthday of the Marines. And then another very important part of what we do is keep Washington informed about what's going on in the Gambia. And so the reporting, that is the way that Washington decides, based on what we tell them about what's going on. That's how Washington decides what kind of assistance it wants to provide to the country.
What's the tenure of an ambassador?
Well, almost always it's 3 years. So I've been here now about 2.5 years, so I will be leaving sometime this year.
Why did you become a diplomat?
Well, I would say there's several different reasons. One is that I've always been interested in traveling and meeting people from different cultures. When I was 12 years old, I was in a special program at one of the colleges in my hometown where I learned to speak German. They had a summer program, and then on Saturdays during the school year, we continued the program. And I went to Germany with some of the college students and spent 2 months there. And I think that really sparked my interest in international affairs. One of the reasons that I like the Foreign Service is that you change jobs. It's like getting a new job every 2 or 3 years when you get an assignment. I've served in Mexico City. I've served in the Dominican Republic in Santo Domingo. This is my second time in the Gambia. I was here as Deputy Ambassador about 10 years ago, and I served 3 years in Ghana. So each time I went to a new assignment, it was like a new job, presenting new challenges. So I really, really like that part of it. And I guess the other part of it is that being in the Foreign Service is a way for me to serve my country and also to help other countries improve their circumstances.
As a woman, what do you have to go through to be an ambassador?
What do you have to do to become an ambassador? Well, it's first of all, you have to work your way up. I started as they called at the time, a junior officer. And your first assignment is always a consular assignment. And the consuls are the ones who issue visas. Consuls are the ones who, if an American has a problem in that country, the consuls are the ones who try to help them with those problems. So every U.S. Foreign Service officer has to serve at least 2 years as a consular officer. So that's what I did in my first assignment in the Dominican Republic in Santo Domingo. And of course I had to learn Spanish because it was a Spanish-speaking country, so I learned Spanish before I went there. And then I had several different jobs, most of them related to economics. In the Foreign Service there are several fields that you can go into, several areas. You can be a management officer, you can be a political officer, you can be an economic officer, which is what I am. You can be a consular officer, or you can be a public diplomacy officer, like Janelle, who you've been in contact with. Okay. And you have to work very hard in every position that you have. And as you go up the ladder, you get more and more responsibility. And you have to demonstrate to people that that you're a hard worker, that you're capable. And after you've been I've been in the Foreign Service for almost 26 years now. It seems like forever to you, I know. After you've been in for a while and you have a lot of experience, you may be nominated to be an ambassador. You have to, first of all, let people know that you're interested in being an ambassador. And then you find mentors, and this is something you want to find a mentor in any kind of job that you have, but you have mentors in the State Department who would advise you and encourage you to take positions that are difficult positions, to position you to be promoted and to be eligible to be an ambassador. And the process of becoming an ambassador is quite a lengthy process. In my case, I was working in the Africa Bureau in Washington, and the Africa Bureau makes nominations to the Secretary of State, but other bureaus like the Near East Bureau or the European Bureau can also make nominations for posts in Africa or anywhere in the world. And so it's kind of a competition. There may be 3 or 4 people who have been nominated for a particular post, and then there's a high-level committee that chooses the people they want to nominate. But there's a process. They go back and check your background. They want to know everything that you've ever written, speeches that you've made, every place that you've lived for the past at least 20 years. And then if you're approved by the Secretary of State, then your nomination is sent to the White House. And the White House also checks on your background and so on before they recommend to the president. It's the National Security Council, and then they recommend to the president that you be nominated or that you are nominated. And then once you become nominated, you have to be confirmed by our Senate. In the U.S., we have a Senate and we have a House of Representatives. So here in the Gambia, you just have one legislative body, and we have two. And in order to become an ambassador, you have to be confirmed by the Senate, which there is a representative from each of the 50 states in the U.S. And to do that, you have to speak before a hearing of the senators, and they ask you questions about the country that you're going to. They ask you about your experience, and if they like your answers, they will confirm you, and only then do you become an ambassador.
What's your favorite book?
My favorite book? Well, I actually have two favorite books. One of them is called The Warmth of Other Suns. This is, matter of fact, I just happen to have a copy right here. This is the book. As you can see, it's very long, but it is a book I could not put down. Somebody gave this to me as a gift when I was going to Ghana in 2012, and I thought, wow, it'll take me forever to read this. It was so entrancing. It is a story about the migration of African Americans who were in the segregated South of the U.S. to the North, where they were looking for, and to the West as well. So some went to California, some went to Chicago, but they were in search of a better life for themselves. And it takes you through the migration process of several different people with different kinds of backgrounds, some well-educated, some not so well-educated. And it's just a fascinating book. And then I have another book that I really like that's a children's book that was written by a friend of mine named Kwame Alexander. And this is called The Acoustic Rooster and His Barnyard Band. This book is about a rooster, as you can see, who plays the guitar. And he wanted to be in the, talent show that the farmer was putting on for the barnyard animals. And he realized that he couldn't do it by himself. So he had to get others to work with him in the band. And he didn't win the contest, but he created a wonderful band, and they all became really good friends. And to me, it's just a really wonderful story. It talks about jazz. I don't know whether you're familiar with jazz music, but jazz music is music from the United States. And he talks about different terms for jazz. One of them is scatting. Have you ever heard of scatting?
No.
Scatting is where you have little background music and you just kind of make up words, and you go like skilly bop bop beat up beat up. And this book includes all kinds of terms related to jazz, and I just think it's really a fun book.
When do you get free time, and what do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I try to make sure that I have some free time, even if it's just one day on the weekend, where I can relax, or I can go out to dinner with friends, or go to a concert or some other kind of cultural event. And I make a point. It's important to have some free time. Very important to do that.
What do you like reading about?
What do I like to read about? Well, I read for a lot of different reasons. Like, I enjoy this book, Warmth of Other Suns, because it tells me about how the U.S. developed. It's an important history book in a way, even though the book itself is fiction, is based on history. And so it tells me how countries developed into what they are today. So I enjoy reading history. But I also enjoy reading self-help books. I have a book that I get books from friends all the time, and someone gave me a book called Quiet. Quiet is about being an introvert in a world where people never stop talking. And it's and so I enjoy reading books like that because in general I'm kind of an introvert, and so it helps me to understand how to work with people who are extroverts, and to realize that it's okay to be quiet sometimes. So I like reading self-help books. And then other times I like mysteries. And I find that it's a great way to relax. It's a way to kind of go into another world and clear your head and so on. So I like reading lots of different things.
What is your favorite Gambian dish?
My favorite dish, I would have to say, is Benetton. I like Benetton with fish and with mutton, and I really like the way all of the tastes blend together. You get all those flavors and the vegetables and the meat and everything. I love it.
What's your favorite piece of art here?
My favorite piece of art, it would be the quilt that's done by an African American woman, and it reminds me a lot of Africa, you know, with the bright orange sun, and it talks about African Americans and their roots in Africa, and I love that piece.
What are your hobbies?
My hobbies? Well, let's see. Well, I used to play tennis. I haven't played in a while, but I still like to play tennis. I try to exercise at least 3 times a week. And, well, obviously I collect art, as you can see. I enjoy going to art shows, and sometimes I will buy art, but I like primitive art as well as very modern art. And you'll see the art around here. Most of it is, much of it is from the United States, the art that has been lent to us by American artists. And the other artwork here is from different parts of Africa. And I have pieces from Aisha Fofana, who's an artist here. And I have pieces from a wonderful artist who unfortunately passed away, Etu. He was a Gambian artist, and I knew him when I was here before. And I have 2 pieces from him here. And so I guess I would say art collecting and exercise and going to cultural events and so on.
Is it true that you graduated high school at 7?
That who graduated from high school at 7?
Yes.
No. Where did that come from?
Wikipedia.
From Wikipedia. Are you serious?
Yeah.
That I graduated from high school at 7?
Yes.
Well, it just shows the as they say, it shows that you can't trust everything you read in Wikipedia. Because no, I did not.
Okay. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure you subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. Bye guys.
Bye everybody.